Hi all! In this presentation, we will focus on some basic search strategies that you can use to refine your searches for information in the CSU Library databases. Here's a view of the CSU Library homepage. There are multiple places on this page where you can start your search for library resources. Our Discovery search box, located here, allows you the convenience of searching across many of our databases with one search. To start, type a keyword or key phrase into this search box. You can also search by title or author if you know what they are, and you can limit your search to either articles or ebooks by using these tabs at the top, or by scholarly or peer-reviewed article by checking the box below. If you're unsure of what options to choose, simply start with a keyword or key phrase and hit Search to move to the next screen, where you will be given a list of results and more options to limit or refine your search. The buttons located directly under the Discovery search box will all redirect you to additional places on our website where you can look for resources. The Databases button redirects to an A to Z list of databases to which the library subscribes. The eBooks button will take you directly into our eBooks database. Click the eJournals button to pull up a short list of electronic journals. If the journal title you need is not listed here, then you will need to search for it in one of our other databases. Because most of the inquiries we receive in the library are about finding articles, let's take a closer look at what's behind the Databases button. Most of us would love to find the article we're looking for on our first search through the Discovery search box, but you may get more focused and relevant results by choosing an individual database that aligns with your topic. When you click on the Databases button on the library homepage, you will be redirected to the A to Z list pictured here, which contains direct links to each database in our collection. Use titles and the brief descriptions in this list to help choose a database. Then click a specific title to start your search. Sometimes, you can determine the focus of a database from its title. Basically, anything with business in the title is a safe bet for business topics. These are not good starting points, however, if you are in the Fire Science program or a history class. For these topics, you may need to start in a broader general database. These databases are good starting points for a wide variety of topics, but you won't necessarily know that without reading their descriptions in our databases list. It's always a good idea when you start a class to go through the database list and find the ones that may work for you. Choosing a database can be hard at first, but you will find that the process gets easier as you often return to the same databases from one assignment to the next. Once you've decided on where to start your search, you are ready to try out some basic search strategies. Remember, the search tips will work in both the Discovery search box as well as individual databases. Now let's take a look at an actual sample assignment from a current CSU course. Explore the topic of labor unions and their impact on employee recruitment in the United States. Be sure to use at least one peer-reviewed article in your review. One of the first things you should do when faced with a new assignment is to ask yourself 3 important questions. What search terms would you try? What search limits are important? And what database would you choose? This sample assignment contains some very specific keywords and phrases that can be used to build a successful search. They are labor unions, employee recruitment, and United States. Also, this search calls for limiting your search to peer-reviewed articles only. Finally, because this assignment is found in a business course, a business database is probably your best option. Here's what a search with these keywords and limits might look like in one of our larger business databases, ABI Inform Collection. Instead of cutting and pasting the entire assignment into a database search box, notice that I used the key phrases we pulled out of the assignment on the last slide. If we were doing an internet search, we might just string all of our search terms together in one box, but for database research, it's more effective to separate them out into different search boxes. Also, notice that I put the different phrases inside quotation marks. Doing this helps the database search for exactly what you need. Underneath the search boxes, take a moment to locate the limiters listed there. Remember, the assignment called for at least one peer-reviewed article. Checking the peer-reviewed box here will limit your search to only those types of articles. A peer-reviewed article is one that is reviewed by expert scholars during the publication process. Sometimes your assignments will refer to them as scholarly articles. Notice here that the peer-reviewed box is next to a box labeled Full Text. Make sure to leave that box checked as well in order to pull in articles you can read online. Here is the results page for this search. There is actually a lot you can learn and do on this page without having to start all over if you get to know its different sections. This search was pretty specific, which is why we may have ended up with only 14 results. A low results number may mean we need to experiment with our keywords and try some alternatives, so keep that in mind when you are determining the effectiveness of your search. Use this section here on the left to make changes to any limits set on the main search screen if necessary. Here we see that our original limits for full text and peer-reviewed are set. And in this particular database, an article that is peer-reviewed also has a visual cue here in the form of a graduation cap that you can use to make sure the articles you retrieve do in fact meet the assignment criteria. If you see a title that looks promising, click the title to be redirected to an abstract or summary, or click a full text link to be redirected to the full article. Let's take a look at a second sample assignment. Find 2 articles that explore connections between leadership and team building in the workplace. These articles should be at least 4 pages in length and less than 3 years old. This is another assignment for a business class, but with some different criteria and limits. For this search, let's try another one of our business databases, Business Source Ultimate. Like with our last search, type some of the key concepts from the assignment, such as leadership and team building, into the search boxes at the top. For this search, peer-reviewed articles aren't required, but here's where you will find that checkbox in this database if you ever need it, again next to the full text box. Our assignment did specify articles that are at least 4 pages. Here, a limit of greater than 3 will pull up articles of an appropriate length. And we are also looking for articles that are less than 3 years old. Here, we can set a date range for time of publication. There are other limiters on this search screen as well, such as document type or publication type, so do take time to explore them to see if any of them might be useful for your search. Knowing what your options are will help you save time and avoid frustration. And remember that no matter what database you choose, similar options should be available to you. Here's the results page for our second search. Remember that each database looks a little different, but this one, like the previous search, contains 3 main sections: a search area, a section in which you can refine your search, and a results list. Use the Refine Results section to check for and make changes to the limits you set on the main search screen. In this database, each title in the results list is followed by publication information, as well as subject terms. And all of this information can help you determine whether a specific title will meet your needs. You can also use the titles and the subject terms listed on this page to help generate new keywords or key phrases if you need help coming up with search alternatives. In the Search section at the top, you can make changes to your search without having to start over. If you get too few results, try out synonyms and variations of your search terms in the search boxes. On the other hand, if you get too many results, use the search field limits here to narrow your search. Click on the box to bring up a list of search field options. Notice that there are quite a few options here, but we will just focus on some specific ones for now. The limiters circled here are the ones I use the most. Items such as author, title, and publication name, the lowest one circled, often show up in article citations, so they are often useful for title searches. If a keyword is mentioned in the title, subject terms, or abstract, then it is likely to be an important concept within a particular article, so those are good search field limits to experiment with, especially when you have a pretty common word like leadership. To sum up, here is a list of the tips and strategies that we've gone over with our sample searches. Quotation marks around your phrases are very important. They will help you pull in exactly what you're looking for. So if you get 30,000 results and you need to narrow those down, this is the #1 thing I do every day to help my search. Second, use the limiters on the main search screen to help narrow your results to the type of document you are looking for, as well as other assignment criteria like article length or date. Third, if you need fewer results, experiment with search field limits, such as subject, title, or abstract. Finally, if you need more results, try different variations of search terms. If you're looking up something on income, for example, you could try keywords like wages, income, salary, or compensation. The most important thing to remember is that you don't have to lock yourself into just searching one word or one phrase. You may have to figure out how the database is looking for it. If you still have questions about database searching, there are a number of resources available to you via the CSU Library homepage. Two other helpful sections worth checking out are these two: Helpful Library Tools and Video Tutorials. If you are new to the program, or if you are unfamiliar with searching library databases, the tutorials and guides designed by CSU librarians will help you get started quickly. And if you don't know where to get started, or you need help finding library resources, you can also contact a librarian in a number of ways. CSU librarians are accessible by phone or email during normal business hours. Also, note the location of the Ask a Librarian chat window. Here you can get help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even holidays. Sometimes, bouncing ideas off another person can help tremendously. So do reach out to us if you have questions, and please let us know how we can help you. Thank you for viewing this presentation, and good luck with your research.